All right, so freaking cool here is with Damien of Virtue. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing fantastic, man. How are you doing?
Good, thank you for asking. How's the tour going so far?
Oh man, this is one of the best tours, if not the best tour that we've done in a very long time. So right now we're just kind of enjoying a little bit of an off day. We're in Nashville still, but haven't really done much, honestly. We're just kind of hanging around the hotel, kind of recuperating, resting, relaxing so that we could tackle the rest. We got about 10 days left out here, so gotta get as much sleep and rest as we can so that we can, keep killing it.
Now, and you have bigger breaks like you do right now. You already got 3 days off, right?
No, so the tour itself, what do you call it? Imminence and Catch Your Breath. They're heading down to Welcome to Rockville. We just have one day off. We're going to go to Chattanooga tomorrow for a headliner. We go up to Columbus to go play with Nothing More and Vela Maya. And then we actually head back down to Atlanta to meet up with them. So this is actually the last day that we have that's kind of like a purely rest, no travel, just like you said, kind of rest, recuperate, and get ready.
See, that's I always wondered like how that works sometimes when I see gaps in schedules like that. You gotta be doing something, man. It's too much to be it costs too much to be staying in a hotel or waiting around where you gotta be for the next couple of days, right?
Oh, absolutely. And it's, I mean, kind of our mantra, man, is like, and it's off days, they're going to cost you money.
Yeah.
And, we can always look at our balance sheet or anything else. And it's like, what is the cost of a hotel? What is the cost of food? Maybe a rental for your vehicle, trailer, and all that stuff. And you add all that up and you realize, ooh, can't afford too many of those. So we just have to kind of just fill in the time. But it's also nice because it's going to afford us some different opportunities as well, where we can, do some headliners, kind of see what, we can do on our own or join into some, different tours and kind of, get those fans and see what we can do in that arena as well. So,
So with a hotel day, that's actually like a luxury on right? I mean, you don't have those too many of those going throughout there.
no, it just depends on the drive times. Usually it's like, you know, if we have longer drives, like with back-to-back shows, we'll just sleep in the van, try to get in what we can. We'll trade shifts, one person sleeping while, everybody else is awake doing whatever they need to do, vice versa. And then if we do have some shorter drives and we can put in the time in, then yeah, we'll grab a hotel so everybody can shower, have a bed to sleep in. There's just four of us, so we can always usually fit into, get a room with two queen beds. That way everybody gets a good night's rest, wake up, get some breakfast, and keep ripping tomorrow.
See, that's one thing people don't realize, and being a musician is still a job. I mean, when you get to these venues, you got your fingers crossed. Hopefully they got a shower. Hopefully they got maybe a couch in the green room I can relax for a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. And even in some cases too, though, it's like once we get to the venue, it's like our job for that day. I mean, it starts before that, but as far as like the responsibilities of, we don't have any crew with us. We're doing all of the jobs that we do. So it's like I sell our merchandise, do some tour managing duties. Our lead singer, he's basically our stage manager, so he'll go on, set up the stage. Everybody's got their own roles that they fulfill. So once we get to the venue, there's really no time to relax. It's you just have there's other things to do. Might have some downtime after the sound check before the doors open to maybe get in like a quick little nap, get a little, power nap or grab some food for a quick second. But the days are long, man. That's like you said, it's when you pull the curtain back, there's a lot of unsexy things that people would probably go, ooh, I didn't realize you did all that. And it's like, well, this is how we make the dream work. But at the end of the day, it's all worth it for that, 25, 30, 40 minutes that you have on stage to, tell your truth and let everybody know why you're there in the first place.
A lot of people think it's like a big vacation on tour, but they don't realize you're lucky you even get to know what city you're in, not like, you ain't out touring, seeing what's going on, sightseeing and whatnot.
No, and sometimes you might have a chance to be able to do that, depending on the city, depending on the schedule, really. But a lot of times there are, people like, oh man, you've been to so many places, and I have to kind of correct them, like, I have, but you also have to remember that when I get there, I am working.
Yeah.
So there's been, I was talking about this, it's kind of funny with Imminence. It's like I've been to Sweden now probably 4 or 5 times, been to a handful of cities multiple times in that beautiful country. And only really the last time that we were there had I had a chance to really see, Stockholm or Gothenburg or some of these bigger ones and actually dive into like their culture because most of the time we're at the venues. Most of the time we don't really see much unless it's in, within like a 3, 4 block radius of wherever we're actually staying. So
So that with the four of you being responsible for everything, that's load in, load out. You're doing merch. The other guy's doing some tour managing. I mean, being that busy might also be a good thing because that way you guys aren't on each other's backs the whole time. I mean, being on the road with four people in a van from weeks at a time could probably get a little frustrating every now and then.
every now and then, like anything else, it's kind of like you look at it like being brothers, man. It's, we have our own, we've been touring long enough to know what makes each other tick, try not to trigger each other. I feel like we're kind of a different band as well because for the longest time, like all the bands that we had, they never had stereos, they never had radios, because you would just find like the cheapest thing that can get you from point A to point B. So it was never like listening to music or like, partying the whole time. It's like it'd be a lot of silence or people would have their headphones in. But what that translated to was, either people getting rest when they needed to on drives, reading books, listening to their own, podcasts or being on the phone. So we do respect each other's time very well because we all know that it's like when we do get there, there is a, the social battery that is kind of what they call it. We reserve that for all the people that are coming to the shows, and we want to have maximum energy, attention, and focus for them because they're the ones paying some of these high ticket prices. We understand that sometimes merchandise fees can be high, for a myriad of reasons. But at the end of the day, it's like we do all this for us, and we do it all for them. So we just have to be mindful of how we treat each other. And I think we do a very good job of that because we really don't get burnt out with each other, but we also give each other space so that we don't reach that point.
See, another thing too, if you really want to be a musician these days, you have to be on the road. I mean, if it wasn't for shows and selling merch and stuff like that, the money's not there anymore. People don't want to pay for music.
No, and it also depends. Like the thing too is you touched on something, and I just kind of want to expand. It's people don't want to just pay for music. People want to pay for access. They want to pay to know you. That's it's are your songs good? Awesome. But what story are they telling? Do you have like a Patreon or on your social media, are you telling your background so that somebody else can connect with you and kind of in some ways, maybe if they don't, let's say somebody maybe can't afford to be in a band or, maybe doesn't have the musical chops that you might have, then they're going to live kind of through you, like with what they, expect out of you. It's, I don't want to say it's unfair, but it's just kind of the reality of the situation where it's like, everybody's not born into the same set of circumstances or has the ability to chase a particular dream. So for us, it's like, okay, we guard ourselves with the privacy, not only with ourselves, but with the public as well. But at the same time, you're going to put out stuff to kind of keep that going, to keep people wanting to come and, give them a reason to want to, spend those hard-earned dollars. You're going to come and you're going to get an experience that, you might not get if you're only listening to just studio music or, just blindly listening to something on a playlist. One thing that's kind of honestly awesome, this is a little tangent, is with this tour especially, it's our first full like US tour in probably about 2.5 years ish, something like that. So a lot of people, we have a lot of new people that have been waiting to see us. And there's been a lot of people that they go, oh, I didn't know you guys were on this tour, but I have a lot of your songs on my playlist because I just listened to them. Like Spotify recommended it to me. I like it, but I never really put a name or a face to what I was listening to. And that's been such an interesting phenomenon for people to just kind of passively listen to these bands and be fans of these bands. And then finally go, oh, shoot, I forgot you're real people. And it's like, you only get that if you do come out to a live show.
There you go, for sure. Now, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I am, hold on, how old do you think I am?
I'd say probably in your 30s.
You would be correct.
Okay, probably about, I don't know, 34, 35.
Ah, my man's close, 36.
Well, there you go. See, so you remember being a kid then, and did you ever think of the music scene going the way it was? I mean, when I was younger, my big chain was a media play around here. You went in, you bought your CD, and then if you got lucky, they started having the headphones where you could listen to something before you bought it. But
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I mean, that's what I'm talking about as far as like paying for music. I mean, you don't even really see people getting CDs or anything like that, unless they're at a show, they get like a piece of merch or something like that. But it's so crazy the way, like you said, you got to do stuff on your Patron, you got to do Patreon, or I'm sorry, but you know what I'm saying. But you got to go
Mhm.
that extra mile to make sure to keep the fans engaged and still get them going.
Oh, absolutely. And some of it is age dependent as well, because for us, we kind of exist in this nice little area where, with the younger audience, we definitely have to adapt and figure out ways to keep them entertained because, there's TikTok, there's so many things that can draw your attention away from it. But we do still connect and resonate either with like people in their 20s, people around, my age, where it's like, thankfully, we do still sell a lot of CDs. We do sell a lot of vinyl out here. And generally, the people that are buying that are going to be, a little bit older because they kind of appreciate more of the artistic endeavor that is what it meant to create, a record, a CD. Because like, it was like back in the day, like you had a CD that was a big deal. You would thumb through the booklet, you would look at the lyrics, you want to know who wrote the songs, you want to know who did what, and maybe and this is just the case for me, anytime like a record would come out that I enjoyed thoroughly, I'd always buy 2 or 3 copies because I'd have one that I would actually like put in my CD book, if you remember those, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Then, I'd mess around with it, look at the lyric, learn everything. I had one that I would frame, and then another one that eventually, because when I started driving, you had like the CD changers, like I would wear those things out so
Right.
quick. And once the CD started skipping, I'd fucking chuck that thing or give it to a friend of mine that I'm trying to get into some other thing, and I just have a fresh copy of the new disc. So it's like, you know, are people doing that anymore? Probably not. But it's nice to know that again, if the attention to detail is there, because I think that's the most important thing is that though physical media is not usually the way that people are going to listen to you now, it is a way to retain the consumer. It is to retain a fan because if they see you're putting a level of detail into something, just like anything else, then they would have no problem paying $20 for a CD that they know, oh, okay, I can go through here and there's graphics everywhere. You can see that there's like the art kind of makes like a puzzle or there's something intricate and special about it. That's what you have. That's what we have to do if we're going to continue to, operate in those spaces.
See, one thing you touched on too was that you Spotify playlists and things like that. I mean, this new album Omens, what do you guys got? A couple of multi-million streams on there, right? Like over 20, 30 million, something like that. I'm looking at.
Yeah, I think Omen's right or Omen right now, I would say it's like 33, 34 million collectively, which, again, is crazy. Like you think about that and it's like I never thought I would have a record that has that many plays on it, that many streams, and that's just on a platform. That's on one platform. Like that's not on Apple Music. That's
Yeah.
not on YouTube. That's and not counting people that do buy the CDs and just play the shit over and over and over and over again, like we used to. So
And you guys are going to keep on going after this wraps up. I understand you joined the Lowrider tour for the summer. Is that right?
on a burning body until I wake and Mike's dead. Yeah, we can't wait for that one. We toured with Upon back in 2019, so those are the homies right there. We've always had love for those dudes, and to be able to go out with them again and go do Canada, do a couple festivals, it's going to be a great time. Until I wake, we did actually play some shows for the first time with those dudes at the beginning of this tour. They hopped on to the first couple dates while Catch Your Breath was still with Breaking Benjamin. So that was sick. I've heard nothing but good things about Mike's Dead. So like I said, once we get back from this, we're home for about a month ish, and then we'll be right back out in the middle of the summer, keep ripping it up, man.
You remember those toys? Remember the little Lowrider toys?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
this
I
is sick.
put them on my desk at school. You know what I mean? The 50-cent machine, you go quarter machine or whatever it was back then, and try and get them all. Yeah,
That,
I
oh
laughed
yeah,
when I
no,
seen the flyer, and I said, "Oh my god, I remember these goddamn things." Brought me back to my youth.
oh, the homies, man. Oh yeah, that's what I giggled a little bit. I was like, okay, because that's the nice thing too. You know, they're older in age too. Like they're all, you know, outside of Tito, like Danny, Ruben, like those dudes are mid to late 30s. You know, getting up there, but at the same time, they still have a love and respect for the craft, the art form, and know how to make things interesting for themselves, how to reinvent in their later years. So.
Now, you're touring with Upon a Burning Body. Would you ever do a publicity stunt like they did back in the day?
I'm not going to comment on that.
I won't see you missing anytime soon.
No, 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 no.
Now, one of the tracks I want to talk to you about off the album Omens is Cannibals. When you come up with that song, you don't happen to have a Uncle Boozy, do you?
No, 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 no. But Cannibals is awesome, man. Like it's one of those songs that kind of just came quickly. I remember one day I was just in my room, like just making some riff, kind of doodling along, and then we had a couple studio sessions coming up, and fleshed it out, got it together, and it's like, okay, this is a good song. I like this. And once we put it out, it's like, hey, first off, that was one of the most fun music videos that we've ever shot. Like we went down to Atlanta, Georgia with Scott Hansen, one of our favorite music directors. He's done like Meshuggah and Seven Dust and Day to Remember, had an opening for us. And we told him like the vision of it, like we want to do a zombie style video. Had a chance to go to a decommissioned prison that was from The Walking Dead,
That's sweet.
get a bunch of extras, fake blood, make it, it's basically make our own little mini horror film. And, you know, not only was that a blast, but then it was kind of a surreal moment when I woke up one day, we just heading to the gym, and Tyler and our manager, they both hit me up. They're like, bro, have you seen this? And I was like, seen what? Sends me a clip, and it's Rhea Ripley, the, you know, women's champ, you know, WWE,
Yeah, yeah.
using the clip as like a workout thing. And I went, oh my God. And I thought it was fake. You know, those they have a lot of pages, there's fan pages and all sorts of stuff. But um, our publicist, I contacted her. I was like, "Hey, this is real." She goes, "Yeah, go to her TikTok." So I go to her TikTok, and she doesn't post down there. There's only 7 videos, and one of them was that. So I was like, "This is kind of wild." We reshared it, reposted it, got a whole lot of love. It honestly introduced us to a whole different demographic of people. Like from we sent her a merch package. She wore one of our t-shirts that we have on tour. Like we sold out of that so quick that it's like, oh boy, this is you know, maybe we're starting to hit with something. Tyler had a chance to meet her in person when we went to go see another friend's band in Detroit, and it's just like it's wild what, you know, one song can do, like where it can go and the life that it can have. So it's like it's all been a crazy ride, man.
It's gonna be a big deal for you. You're a big wrestling fan, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. It's like for me, you know, we were talking to somebody over, I want to say it was, I forgot what production it was, but it's like we wanted one of our songs, Cold Blooded, that was actually written to be more of like a wrestling anthem and theme song. You know, it didn't work out because of COVID, but at the same time, we're like, we love the song. And it's like, for me, that's one of my favorite songs to play live because like once we hit there, it's like, this makes me feel like, you know, we're walking out on stage. This is our theme music. This is us coming in here to let you know that we're about to just rip shit up. So,
Now, being a wrestling fan, if you could pick any one wrestler to write a theme song for, who would it be and why?
ooh, let's see, current or just any wrestler.
Whatever, man. You know, it's up. You know, what up to you?
So I would say if we were going back more towards like my youth and like childhood, it's like I would want to pick somebody like Triple H. I'd want to pick something like Austin or The Rock when he was more of a heel before he was like super baby face. Um, Edge, that would be a great one when he started actually having like his, you know, rated R superstar, like his main event push. You know, Randy Orton would have been a sick one. Kane is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. So it's like, prime Kane, like 97 to like 2000. That would have been a dream come true. Though. So,
Okay. Did you ever tour with Fozzy or no?
we have not toured with Fozzy, but I do have an appreciation for Chris Jericho and everything he does for wrestling, what he's doing with AEW. Like, the man works incredible. I have friends that have toured with him though, which is sick. Like one of our fill-in drummers that we had, he toured with him on one of his last runs. It was like the dude is one of the most humble people that you'll ever meet. He doesn't do music because he has to. He just loves to do it. So he takes care of all the bands, all the crew, lets the fans know like, hey, we're just having fun out here. You have access to me in a way that you normally wouldn't get through, the wrestling promotions and all that. So but if the opportunity, arose to tour with Bobby, yeah, absolutely, I'd be welcome out with open arms.
It's interesting that you said how Rhea Ripley turned you on to so many new fans. I mean, those wrestler fans go hard for whatever person they like, man. They're like all about that shit, buying the clothes, the fucking jewelry, you know what I mean? All that.
Oh yeah, it's
Whatever music they're
cult
listening to.
mentality, absolutely. And I mean, again, it's not that much different than music. Like some of the people that we've met out here, some of our supporters are some of the most diehard people, and without them, we wouldn't be where we're at. I'm one of those diehards, man. This is, it sounds cliche, but you know how it is. This is a lifestyle thing. Like you got to live it, breathe it, eat it, sleep it, wake up. You get a little break here and there, but it's like we do this for the love of what we love music, the love of the culture, and the love of connectivity to people. So when people reciprocate that and give that to us, we can keep giving it back to them.
Now you're going on 15 years of sobriety, is that right?
It'll be 17 years actually this year.
Like, congratulations, man. Good for you.
Appreciate that, man. Thank you so much.
Is that a hard time sometimes being on the road? I mean, a lot of guys like to have a beer or whatever afterwards or do whatever they do. Or the fans come up, you know what I mean? Hey, you want to smoke a joint with me or whatever? Is that tempting to you?
No, because, and I tell people this every night. I actually talk about this on stage. I wouldn't, the opportunities that have been given to me to do this now, man, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be able to do that if, I would give into that kind of stuff. I appreciate what people do because sometimes people, it's if they either don't hear me or they're just being kind. They're like, hey, do you want this? And I go, hey, I don't do this. And they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, no, it's perfectly fine. It doesn't trigger me. Me being in an environment doesn't bother me because I want people to have fun, but I also want people to know that, like, hey, even though there are like the stereotypes that come along with rock and metal, with this types of subgenres, it's like if you don't feel comfortable doing that, but you don't know who to look to, or you don't know anybody else that lives the same way that I do, then I can at least be one person that you can say like, hey, so and so from this band doesn't do these things. However, he still is an active participant in rock, in metal, and wanting to better himself and can show me a way where, okay, cool. I don't have to do that in order to participate and love the style of music and what we do here. So for me, there's no pressure because I wouldn't be able to do this if I kept doing all the other stuff.
Good for you, man. That's awesome. One thing I don't understand is like the people who just get so wasted before a show and they get there and they're just completely sloppy. It's like, how do you even remember you were there, man?
Oh yeah, and I was there too, man. And I get it. I've had my fun with it, but at the same time, it's like just like even the music itself, it's like there's something special. There's something cathartic about what we do, and it can attract all different types of personalities, everything else, and people use substances for a variety of reasons. Some are more recreational, and other times masking deeper and deeper issues that need to be uncovered, and you need to remove those substances to actually finally address them so that you can be the best person, best version of yourself that you can be. So, you know, I'm here for a reason. I'm in this style for a reason. We're in this band for a reason. And if it's to, try to get as many people to, come over to this direction to kind of embrace more of this sober lifestyle, awesome. If it's simply just to shine a light and say, hey man, you're not alone. And if you need somebody to talk to, then come talk to me. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I can only show you what has worked for me.
You did the EP Center in 2022, and that was followed up by Omens last year. Do you think that might be a route that you might want to go to as an EP, then an album, just to keep music constantly coming out? Or
Yeah, possibly. I mean, the thing we've learned too, like full records are they are great, and we will always put them out. But we have to be mindful of like a lot of people don't consume records like that. You know, you have to put out, small bodies of work, kind of push the visuals around it. Again, create the story, tell the story, give the people a reason for you to want a whole record. Like, there's no sense in putting all that much effort into 10 songs if people only really like two,
right,
you know. So you put the singles out there. Yeah, you're gonna have the, small contingent of people that are like, I want the CD, I want the record. Just hold tight then. Because tell the rest of your friends, come out to a show because the more interest that there is, the easier it is for us to make something like that. So for now, yeah, we'll probably stick to just dripping out singles, maybe put out an EP. And what's nice too, EPs allow us to experiment. We can kind of play with some sounds, do some different things, and not be just beholden to one specific thing. Like obviously we know it's going to work for us, so there's going to be more of that. But we as creatives do want to push ourselves and push kind of the boundaries of what we can do to see, hey, maybe there's something else that we can tap into that we don't even know yet. So
see, I think COVID really changed the music industry as far as that goes. I mean, I think you got more of a shorter attention span with people these days, and it seems like the standard to go ahead and put out, a song maybe every couple of months instead of going ahead, like you said, 10 songs on an album, you only listen to a few. It's not worth it in the long run. That way you can put focus into the songs that you're putting out. When was the last time you listened to a full album? You know what I mean? Like that you could constantly play.
like a new one or an old one? I do have to phrase this. There's a reason why.
Well, I mean, recently, I mean, is there anybody that you went ahead and said, you know what, I'm going to listen to this full thing? I mean, obviously the older stuff, of course, everyone's got their favorites. You know what I mean?
I would say the last full body of work was Spirit Box. They put out an EP, The Fear of Fear. And again, every song on that, I think there's 6 songs, 6 or 7 songs. And it's nice for me because it's not too long. Each song is great in its own right. It all flows together. But that'd probably be the last full thing, at least of a newer band. Um, and then we do have our core essentials. So it's like, we bang Hybrid Theory, Meteor, Linkin Park back to back. Like that's kind of like a rule for us. Like anytime you put on Linkin Park, you're starting with Paper Cut and you're done, you're not done until Numb comes on.
Right.
So it's like, you know, so we do, we all have our nostalgias. We have the ones that are no skips, but there are newer bands too that do have those for us. And we appreciate when those come along. Like this band called Loathe, like they're incredible. While She Sleeps, Bring Me the Horizon, all these bands that they're putting Gojira. That's one of my they're one of my favorite bands right now too. Like they're so sick. So there are bands that do that and can keep our attention like that too. So
Speaking of Linkin Park, with the rumors that they might go on tour next year, what do you think, man? You think it might happen or no?
I think there's some smoke. There's some smoke there. I know that band Chester meant so much to so many people that it's like I think they understand that whatever they do, they just have to get it right to themselves. Like the public, there's going to be division amongst anybody trying to come in and not take Chester's place, but to do him justice. So it's like I think the band right now is just figuring out what they can do, who they can involve. That people are going to go, you know what, that makes sense. And
Yeah,
once they figure that out for themselves, then I think the touring side is going to handle because the moment they announce a tour, that thing will be sold out instantly,
oh,
and they know
100%.
that, and they know that. But they don't want to do a disservice to their legacy, to what Chester meant and what that band means to so many millions of people, you, myself, everybody else. Because hey, trust me, I'll be in the queue too, fighting bots for tickets.
I find it interesting too. I mean, like you said, trying to find the right fit to make sure that works out. I mean, you see some of these classic bands and they don't even have an original member left, and they're still out there doing the shows.
Yeah, it's a tricky thing to accomplish, but sometimes it just boils down to it's like if whoever is performing is doing the original artist justice, then people can look the other way. They can hear their favorite songs as long as they're not like diminished versions of it. You know, I had this conversation. People were talking about like Pantera, and it's like now they still have original members obviously, but there's still some derision with that with what Phil and Rex are doing. You know, like Zach Wild, Charlie, they're incredible musicians. They were, friends and tour mates, and most importantly, they were around and came up with, Vinny and Don. So it's like, so on one face, you can look at it and go, well, maybe it could have or shouldn't have happened, for any reason, but it is happening. But at least because it is, it's like they're trying to do it justice. Same thing with like Static X. It's like we all know that my man from Dope is singing for them, but in a weird way, it's like he's doing Wayne Static a lot of justice. The band themselves have not said, "Hey, we're not replacing Wayne. We can't do that because that was his baby." But what they can do is they can adapt and go, you know what? We're going to make this kind of a more sinister version of what Wayne potentially wanted with somebody that can play like him, sing like him, and was a lifelong friend of him. So,
And willing to wear a mask of his corpse on stage too. You can't have that.
hey, absolutely. And look, we can call it what it is too, because what have you seen with every Static X tour? Dope is on there,
Right.
so it's good business.
100%, man. You know, they know what they're doing for sure.
Hmm.
So people are watching this, they want to follow up, they want to check out all these tour dates that you're coming through their towns. They want to go ahead and listen to Omens, things like that. What do they go? What do they do for everything?
Oh man, you go to our website of virtueband.com, and that's going to direct you everywhere: Facebook, X, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, all of it at Of Virtue. We have a Lalo link that you can sign up for that is a texting service. It's going to give you a little clip of some unreleased music, and it allows us to stay in contact with you via text about tour dates, merch drops, all the cool shit going on with us. So make sure you sign up for that. And then otherwise, like I said, we're going to be on the road for until September, and then hopefully we're going to try to close out the year with another big bang. So
Perfect, man. All right, it was a pleasure speaking with you, and hopefully you come down to my neck of the woods. I get to see you guys live.
oh yeah, we will. That's for sure, man.
All right, bro. Have a good one, man. Thank you.
You as well, man. Take it easy.